Well, folks, today we're taking a road trip down a very dark history lane, because apparently when Stephen Miller spoke at Charlie Kirk's celebration, he was channeling Joseph Goebbels so hard that even the Reich Minister of Propaganda did a double take. Now imagine mixing a cake recipe and accidentally using rat poison instead of sugar. That's precisely what happened when Miller borrowed his talking points from a literal Holocaust architect and decided to serve them up at a modern rally. So let's break down the highlights. Miller stood there, chest puffed out, warning of invasion at our borders. An obvious dog whistle so loud it could practically be heard by satellites. Sound familiar? Goebbels would have been proud of that kind of dehumanizing rhetoric. Now, I'm not sure if you remember how Goebbels described entire populations as vermin, as pests to be exterminated. Miller didn't literally call immigrants vermin, he went with hordes. But hey, it's the same playbook. Turn human beings into a horde of terrifying insects, and then you've got public support to swat them away without a second thought. It's like watching a horror movie, but the monster is dressed in tailored suits and waving flags instead of crawling out of the sewer. Yet the effect is the same. Fear, anger, and most sinister of all, justification for brutal policy. And when you hear Miller say, "We must preserve our heritage," ask yourself, whose heritage? The old blood and soil salute that sounds like it was ripped straight from Nazi pamphlets? Cue the ghost of Goebbels, scribbling brilliant in his little notebook. But do not just take my word for it, let's talk tactics. Goebbels mastered the art of repeating lies so often they became truth in the public mind. Miller, bless his heart, ditto. Invasion, crisis, existential threat. Repeat until people believe the apocalypse is coming, and voila, civil liberties go out the window faster than toilet paper in March 2020. So here's a reality check. People fleeing violence and poverty are not an invasion. They're humans seeking safety. Labeling them as enemies paves the way to horrifying consequences, and consequences we barely imagined possible in the 21st century, until Stephen Miller showed up with a time machine set to 1933. So, what's the takeaway? When the echo of Nazi propaganda starts resonating from a podium in America, turning historical atrocity into the soundtrack of contemporary politics, we must call it out, loudly, relentlessly, without giving the racists any plausible deniability. Because forgetting history, or worse, plagiarizing its darkest pages, doesn't make us safer, it makes us complicit, and that, my friends, is a plot twist nobody wants. The next time someone mentions heritage, ask them if they're reading from Goebbels' highlight reel, then remind them, and everyone around you, what real progress looks like. Empathy, justice, and remembering that humanity beats hatred every single time. Stay vigilant. Be loud.